Welcome back to Everything and Anything. Today on the show, brought to you by Pop Culture Corner, of course, um, we are going to be looking at all the biggest moments from the recent UFO UAP hearing. This is something I am super interested in, passionate about, I suppose. Is there life on other planets? And I think, in my opinion, it's related to pop culture. And it's something I like. So I definitely wanted to check it out and kind of react to it. Before we get into that, guys, obviously make sure to like this video, share it on social media, and subscribe for more content like it. You can become a member for as low as $2.99 a month. All you have to do is hit join below or send a super chat while we're live. All of it goes back into the show. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to kind of get right into it. So this is the clip. It's going to start right away because I'm sharing it as a file.
Privileged to be here with you today to address your questions regarding unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP. What are UAP? Put simply, UAP are airborne objects that, when encountered, cannot be immediately identified. However, it is the Department's contention that by combining appropriately structured, collected data with rigorous scientific analysis, any object that we encounter can likely be isolated, characterized, identified, and, if necessary, mitigated. With regard to the importance of transparency, the Department is fully committed to the principle of openness and accountability to the American people. However, we are also mindful of our obligation to protect sensitive sources and methods. Our goal is to strike that delicate balance, one that enables us to maintain the public's trust while preserving those capabilities that are vital to the support of our service personnel. In closing,
right, because you don't want to spark mass hysteria. However, I think the public is in tuned to know kind of what's going on. Maybe not all of it, but most of it.
the Department is committed to this effort and welcomes the challenge. We thank you for your committed support and look forward to your questions.
Let me share with you the first video that we have here today, which shows an observation in real time.
Okay, here we go.
There it was. That's, in many cases, that's all that a report may include. And in many other cases, we have far less than this. As we detailed in both the unclassified and classified versions of the preliminary assessment released by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence last June, this often limited amount of high-quality data and reporting hampers our ability to draw firm conclusions about the nature or intent of UAP.
The Commander Fravor incident is much, much more than what that was. So I'm not sure why he's saying that most of the accounts that we have are just that. But because there are more detailed, and I included that in the circle on the thumbnail.
As detailed in the ODNI report, if and when individual UAP incidents are resolved, they likely fall into one of 5 potential explanatory categories: airborne clutter, natural atmospheric phenomena, U.S. government or U.S. industry developmental programs, foreign adversary systems, or a other bin that allows for a holding bin of difficult cases and for the possibility of surprise and potential scientific discovery. Let me show you a couple of another video and image taken years apart in different areas. In this video, U.S. Navy personnel recorded what appears to be triangles, some flashing, recorded several years ago off the coast of the United States. This was recorded while the U.S. Navy ship observed a number of small unmanned aerial systems in the area. And importantly, the video was taken through night vision goggles with a single lens reflex camera. These remained unresolved for several years.
Okay. What is he getting to? I mean, that's a cool...
Of those 144, 18 of them reportedly appear to exhibit unusual flight characteristics, appear to demonstrate advanced technology, and some of them appeared to remain stationary in winds aloft, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, or move at considerable speed without discernible means of propulsion. That's pretty intriguing. And if you're able to answer this in this setting, are we aware of any foreign adversary capable of moving objects
No,
without any discernible means of propulsion?
no.
I think I would, without discernible means of propulsion, I would say that we're not aware of any adversary that can move an object without discernible means of propulsion. The question then becomes, in many of these cases where we don't have a discernible mean of propulsion in the data that we have, in some cases, there is likely sensor artifacts that may be hiding some of that. There's certainly some degree of something that looks like signature management that we have seen from some of these UAP, but I would caution. I would simply say that there are a number of events in which we do not have an explanation, and there are a small handful in which there are flight characteristics or signature management.
There it is, right there, right? There are a handful of cases where they cannot identify nor confirm at all what it is and what it may be because of the lack of a combustion engine, basically, right? Because usually when something like a ship, it needs a fuel to use that combustion engine to propel itself forward. These ships are like distorting gravity around them in order to move, which Bob Lazar has been talking about since the 80s.
That we can't explain with the data that we have. We'll continue. Those are obviously the ones that are of most interest to us. Earlier, when we asked about how you avoid technological surprise, the biggest way you avoid technological surprise is by collecting this type of data and by, importantly, calibrating the assumptions that you go into with how you do that analysis. I'll tell you, within the UAP task force, we have one basic assumption, and that is that generally speaking, our sensors operate as designed. And we make that assumption because many times these are multi-sensor collections. We make no assumptions about the origin of this or that there may or may not be some sort of technology that we don't understand. That's, I think, the key to avoiding technological surprises by calibrating those assumptions.
It's also been reported that there have been UAP observed and interacting with and flying over sensitive military facilities, particularly, and not just ranges, but some facilities housing our strategic nuclear forces. One such incident allegedly occurred at Malmstrom Air Force.
And what Mr. Gallagher is about to talk about is the increase in sightings and the increase in activity around nuclear facilities. So nuclear facilities, and after the atomic bomb was dropped, is when the spike in increases of alien or UFOs, UAPs have been seen. So some conspiracy theorists, or I don't know if it's. I mean, it's technically a conspiracy theory, but they say that they're monitoring Earth now that we monkeys have figured out nuclear technology, and we have the potential of cataclysmic disaster. And cataclysmic disaster on Earth would have repercussions on the universe. A planet exploding doesn't just, fly by night. No, it disrupts gravitational pulls, orbits of other planets, and our whole galaxy would be thrown off course.
In which 10 of our nuclear ICBMs were rendered inoperable. At the same time, a glowing red orb was observed overhead. I'm not commenting on the accuracy of this. I'm simply asking you whether you're aware of it and whether you have any comment on the accuracy of the report.
Let me pass that to Mr. Bray. If you've been looking at UAPs over the last 3 years.
And I pause it just to say, I am doing this random stream at like 1 on a Wednesday on my day off. I know not many people are going to be here live, but I did want to get this handled because this is something I've been trying to do for the last like 4 nights. but there'll be a panel tonight, and we're going to be talking about Walter Hamada's deposition, as well as Thor, Love and Thunder, and the MCU, and some other pieces of news.
That data is not within the holdings of the UAP task force.
Okay, but are you aware of the report, or that the data exists somewhere?
I have heard stories. I have not seen the official data on that.
So you've just seen informal stories, no official assessment that you've done or exists within DoD that you're aware of regarding the Malmstrom incident?
All I can speak to is, what's within my cognizance of the UAP task force, and we have not.
What is
looked
the
at that
Malmstrom incident?
Well, I would say, it's a pretty high-profile incident. I don't claim
Oh,
to be
I
an
know
expert on
which
this,
one it is
but
talking
that's out there in the ether. You're the guys investigating it. I mean, who else is doing it?
If something was officially brought to our attention, we would look at it. There are many things that are out there in the ether that aren't officially brought to our
So
attention.
how would it have to be officially brought to your
Usually
attention?
an
I'm
official-
bringing it to your
Sure,
attention.
so-
This is pretty official.
So we'll go back and take a look at it, but
Ooh,
certainly
I
there's
like
some,
Mr. Gallagher.
authoritative figure that says there is an incident that occurred. We'd like you to look at this. But in terms of just tracking what may be in the media that says that something occurred at this time, at this place, there are probably a lot of leads that we would have to follow up on. I don't think we have resource to do that right now.
Well, I don't claim to be an authoritative figure, but for what it's worth, I would like you to look into it. And
Sure.
if for no other reason, you could dismiss it and say this is not worth wasting resources on.
Will do.
And have we attempted to communicate with those objects?
No.
So we don't even put out a alert saying, U.S. Identify yourself. You are,
This is-
within our flight path.
I want
or
to
something
watch
like
the
that.
whole
We haven't
fucking
said anything
video
like that.
now.
We've not put anything out like that. Generally speaking, for example, in the video that we showed earlier, it appears to be something that is, unmanned, appears to be something that may or may not be.
It doesn't
in
matter what
controlled
it
flight,
appears to be.
And so we've not attempted any communication.
Why
with
wouldn't
that.
you try to communicate with
Okay,
something
so,
like that?
and I assume we've never discharged any armaments against a UAP, correct?
That's correct.
How about wreckage? Have we come across any wreckage
Here we go.
of any kind of object that has now been examined by you?
The UAP task force doesn't have any wreckage that isn't explainable, that isn't consistent with being of terrestrial origin.
Do we have any sensors underwater to detect on submerged UAPs? Anything that is in the ocean or in the seas?
So I think that would be more appropriately addressed in closed session, sir.
Okay. Basically, it sounds like we have a
Wow.
good partnership with FAA.
So there's closed session that we
But
didn't get
apart
to
from
see.
FAA, we don't have partnerships with other agencies or other entities.
I was thinking this earlier. Why does this trial look like it was shot in like around the time OJ's case happened? Why Johnny Depp's trial is in fucking full HD. It's in fucking 4K, and this isn't. I did ask myself the same thing, but so what I just heard was there was a closed session as well. So some of the more delicate information was shared behind closed doors, which kind of sucks. But goddamn, I wish we could see that.
That might be tracking so that we could enlarge our data set to make comparisons.
So we will. So that's the goal of this next effort will be to expand that relationship with the rest of government and the interagency.
Right. With that, I want to thank you all for taking the time out.
What?
I also want to thank my colleagues on both sides of the aisle for participating in this very historical and important hearing. I think it's one of the few times we can demonstrate some degree of bipartisanship around UAPs and UFOs. So I love it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
What? That's
And
all-
we will see you all. We will recess this hearing for the moment and return in a closed session at noon.
So, what? Okay, I have the full hour, but this was supposed to be the highlights. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't have time to watch the whole hour and a half right now. I thought this was like a 35-minute video of the highlights. God damn it. I guess we'll have to, I'll probably have to do this a different time. Well, I guess what we'll do is, yeah, I'll watch the full hour and a half on a day I have, because I have tonight's stream and I have to go run errands. Well, that sucked. Although we did touch base, like we did touch on like the key moments, I guess. I guess that's what that was, the key moments. But I would have liked to hear every single question, because the questions that were posed, just from the ones I saw, were really interesting and things I want to know the answer to. And why isn't this UFO, UAP committee, why don't they have more resource into at least attempting communication when a military craft or something that does have the means of doing so come across something like it? That blows my mind. I would assume that would be the first thing we would have tried, to even if it was just to identify the craft. Doesn't matter if it looks unmanned. Who are you to make that call? If it's unidentified flying or unidentified phenomenon, you cannot assume to presume anything. So, I mean, that's my opinion, I think. But okay, so we'll watch the full video at a different date, in the next day or so. I'm sorry, guys. I thought that was a lot longer. But make sure to like, share, subscribe, become a member. We're going to be doing a panel tonight, an hour and a half panel tonight. So that'll be starting at 9:30 Eastern. So make sure to come join the discussion. Please. It's always more fun when the audience engages. I love you. We're gonna keep this going. This whole UFO thing, and aliens just existing. I want to keep this going because it's a segment that I really enjoy and I'm actually really passionate about. So until then, I will see you next time.
You can't make this shit